Now, Ronnie, I'm going away for a couple of days to visit your Aunt Rhea. She's been ill, and I want to help her with the house cleaning and laundry. While I'm gone, I want you to water the garden and mow the yard. You'll do that for me, won't you?
Sure, Grandma. Can I use the riding mower like Grandpa Len did?
I suppose. You're old enough now to do that.
All Ears Theater. We're on the stage. Here we are, gentlemen. What are you all about? What's the theater all about?
Okay, All Ears Theater started 20 years ago. We're in our 19th season. I've been heavily involved with radio theater for almost 40 years. And during a chance conversation with Rick Huey from the Gilmore Foundation, I mentioned that I was going to New York to be directing a show out there, working with many of the Golden Age actors. And Rick said, you know, Don, I've always thought that might be a fun thing to do here in Kalamazoo. And so about 6 months later, he got hold of me, and from there we had conversations. I explained what was all involved. The Arts Council got involved, WMUK, a local radio station for Western Michigan University, got involved, the First Baptist Church got involved, and from there, along comes All Ears Theater.
Don, the big picture. There's some acting, there's some sound effects, but the goal is what I'm hearing more so than what I'm seeing?
Absolutely. It's called the Theater of Mind for a purpose, because ideally, if you wanted to listen to what we're doing, even if you're here witnessing the recording, which what people will be doing this evening, is you would close your eyes, because what you're trying to do is create this vision in your mind. And it involves sound effects, it involves original music played by our musicians, our sound engineer who handles any recorded effects we've got, the director who's like a conductor in this particular circumstances, and then of course the actors behind the mic who are bringing their talent and voices. And the thing is, they all have to work together, because if they don't work together, then you're going to have an awkward show. But all about timing.
There she is, Grandpa's riding mower. I can't wait to get going. This will cut my job time in half. That old push mower takes forever and a day to do this lawn. I'll just push it out of the shed and gas it up. Wow, this tractor was heavier than I thought. I'll gas her up and get going. I don't want to be late for ball practice this afternoon. There you go.
Talk about the script, the storyline. Where does that come from?
Well, we have our hands full usually trying to figure out what kind of stories. We like to have a mix of different stories. Throughout the years, we've done science fictions, we've done mysteries, we've done dramas, we've done a whole lot of detective stories, we've done westerns, we've done pirate stories. We tend to gear our programming towards so that it's rated G or PG, so it's suitable for the whole family. And historically, we started out, we did a lot of shows like the Green Hornet, ones that are recognizable to folks at home. Over the years, we've been adopting more and more locally written artists, and in fact, this year entirely, it's all local talent that's writing it.
How much does imagination play in, say, a role of sound effects?
Imagination. Imagination is everything, because we, in fact, depend on, you're probably asking about the imagination of the sound effects guy, but I'm going to tell you instead about the imagination of our audience. What I love about radio theater is that we are depending on interaction, that you are showing up and in your own mind, you are bringing the crazy props and the fun scenery and the way off locations. And so when you hear the kitchen hand mixer, yeah, it took imagination to know that I can make that sound like a bicycle, but the audience can hear that and they're quickly transported to a 1950s country road and a couple of kids cycling off to their heart's content. So
there are sound effects that actually appear in the scripts as cues, but a really good sound effects artist, what they'll do is they will find the sound effects that the author missed. In other words, okay, you're standing in a park here and they're having this conversation and there might be a cue that somebody, footsteps, walk up, something like that. Well, there's probably some other noises that are going on that might help complete that picture of a park. And is this a gumshoe? Did he flick a cigarette? I mean, is he, you know, are birds chirping in the background? There's things that have to be considered just beyond what the script lists itself. That's another aspect of the imagination.
I hope you'll always remember it.
I will, Grandma.
Oh, look, there comes Mr. Williams to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Village of Eaton welcomes you all to the 1965 Garden Tour.
I'm Lloyd Williams, the chair of this year's tour, and along with my colleagues Agnes Haynes from the Village Council, Ruby Nelson from our Eaton Garden Club, and a newcomer from the University Extension Service, horticulturist Matt Snyder.
Is Kalamazoo pretty lucky to have this talent in its own backyard?
Absolutely, you have no idea. Now, there are many groups around the country that from time to time put on recreations, as they would call them, of radio shows, occasionally original material. We're unique in that we have a show that's broadcast every Sunday on radio, and we do 12 new episodes a year, and that's very special.
Why come see an all-ears theater show?
Well, it's interesting because usually you think of people listening to radio shows on the radio. The reason you probably want to see it live is because you can see the nuts and bolts of how it's done. You can hear the product over the radio, but when you're sitting in the audience, you have the opportunity to look over at the sound effects stage. You can see the musicians, the sound engineers. You can see the actors perform.
Now, do we say break a leg, or break an ear, or
Break a mic.
good luck, break a mic? Gentlemen, thank you for keeping this together. All right, take care. All Ears Theater is all about sound. Is this where a lot of the magic happens?
This is where the magic happens.
All right, well, I'm here for a little tour, and then I'm going to have you teach me what this is all about. What's your most favorite here?
Well, I like the snow bags. This is one that you would use if you were going to be walking in the snow. And one thing you got to remember about sound effects is what we are doing is we're creating a sound for a listening audience on the radio. And so what we have to do is, since they can't see what we're trying to get across to them, we have to create the visual image by sound. And so if you've got somebody in the snow and the dialogue in the play is walking through the snow, you take this is filled with that cornstarch.
Okay, it's not filled with snow.
It is not filled with snow.
Just checking.
So what you do is you take it, you kind of squeeze it, and you twist it, kind of like you would hear if you were walking in heavy boots in the snow.
It works.
It does.
It works. There's gravel too.
There is gravel because we aren't always walking in the snow all year round. So if you're outside and you're walking in gravel, you want to create that sound where if you've got a really tight show and you're quickly grabbing from one sound effects to the other, you would grab this bag, it's a gravel bag, and create that sound.
Take me back through some history
We
here.
do have some history here. We have a sound, this is called a squeak box.
Okay, so make it squeak.
This is, well, first of all, it's just a basic belt that's been cut, put on a wooden dowel, and you tighten it up, and then you slowly.
Ooh.
And that can
like
be used for
sound,
mystery
right?
sounds.
Ooh.
It can be used if you are on a boat.
Yes.
If you're on a creaky dock. If you have a really creaky door, you can use this. This actually has history to this box. This box was in a movie with Woody Allen called Radio Days.
Oh my gosh.
And this is the box.
Nice.
Our creator for All Ears Theater collected a lot of original sound effects. And so a lot of the stuff that you see on the table here was sound effects equipment that was used in original broadcasts of early radio shows.
And yet you can pick something like that up at a garage sale over there.
Well, that is what we do. If you're going to do sound effects for All Ears Radio, we have our sound effects technicians come up with their sound effects. So you can go through and say, all right, here's the sound I've got to create. And it can be anywhere from trying to open a squeaky gate.
Oh, it works.
To, I had one time where I had to do a sword fighting and the guy got stabbed.
Hey, what's this?
This, if you were going to use something where you have a cart, you would.
Oh my gosh. That has some history to it too.
It does. This is again one of those original sound effects equipment that was used during the original radio days.
Pull that up and talk to me about that one, this one.
This one?
Yeah.
This you could use if you were doing like a sailing ship and you were trying to bring something up. You can use it for, let's say you're pulling up a barrel out of a well.
Yes.
You can use whatever you think that sound is. It really requires imagination.
Yes.
And so that's where you can come up with using something just like, you know, a piece of equipment here.
What does this sound like? I know what it sounds like in the kitchen.
Well,
sort of.
This would be used if you're going to use for a bicycle.
Okay. Oh, that works too.
It does. It
All right.
does.
And then that?
Well, you can use it for the lock that it is for the purpose. You can use it for a gun if you're going to load a gun.
Oh,
set the
okay.
rifle for it.
Got
You
it right
could
here.
use that.
I'm ready for the
And
grand
this-
finale, though. What is the grand
This is
finale
called
here?
marching feet.
Marching feet.
And
Teach me how to use this.
To do sound effects, you can't
Yes.
bring in a whole group of people to act as marching feet. So we had to create one. And what you do is you take it and you
Oh my
and you kind of tip
goodness
it
gracious.
side to side.
All right,
Give it a
so
try.
give it a try. So I'm tipping it like this.
Yep. Kind of rock it back and forth. There you go.
Wow. You can get your exercise doing this.
You
can't
can. And no matter how hard that you do it, that makes them sound closer. The lighter it is, they may be farther away.
Wow. Very nice. All right, Sharon, you're talented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Support for Kalamazoo Lively Arts is provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation, helping to build and enrich the cultural life of Greater Kalamazoo.